So now we have reviewed what climate is, and we're going to jump right into succession. Succession is a series of predictable changes that occurs in a community over time. And there's two kinds of succession. We have primary succession and secondary succession. Now, primary succession occurs when the land is completely barren. It is just all rock or all sand like a beach and nothing else. There's no soil that plants can grow in. This normally happens after a big natural disaster, such as a volcano eruption, where we have lava flow that covers everything, and so now it's just rock everywhere. This can also happen after flooding, if that flooding brings in sand and other rock debris and washes out all the soil. Now, the succession portion of that is the changes that occur after the natural disaster happens. So we can see in this picture, after this volcano erupted, a few years later, things were coming back and growing back. Those are the type of predictable changes we're talking about. So now we know that primary succession is where we start with nothing, no soil, then over time, things start to grow and come back. The first organisms that populate an area after a disaster like that are called pioneer species. Now, pioneer species have to be pretty tough because they're going to try and grow in an area with no soil, so just rock or just sand. So, pioneer species are generally things like lichens that grow on rocks in this picture. What lichens do is that they actually end up breaking down the rock over time, which forms soil. We see that things like moss, which help stop any new soil from washing away, and we also usually see grasses as pioneer species. Grasses can help prevent erosion also by keeping things in place. So, all three of these pictures are very common examples of pioneer species: the lichens, moss, and grasses. Now, when these pioneer species die, because everything eventually dies, they break down and turn into soil. And when that happens, and we have some soil in the area, we see other plants that are not pioneer species start to come in and take over. So we see other grasses coming in, wildflowers, and small plants. Because while our soil layer is there, it still isn't super deep. Once that happens, we then start to see insects move in and small animals move in. This area that was once just rock now has lots of plants and life in it, so animals can start to thrive. Bigger and bigger things move in, and it can eventually turn into a forest. So we go from nothing at all to a pioneer species, to small plants and insects, to shrubs, bushes, and animals, and then to a whole forest. Now, beaches actually give us a very good model of succession. So, in this picture, we see the area closest to the water is all sand. Nothing's really living there. But as we go further from the beach, we see some pioneer species of grass, and then the plants start to get a little bigger, and then we have a forest.